Now, I'm showing you pictures of 3 animals. And if I ask you what is a natural diet for those animals, everyone is going to say plant foods or plants, which is true. So then I would ask, at what point in the lives of these animals do they eat animal protein? And when I've asked that question in a live conference, about 2/3 of the people will immediately say, never, they don't eat animal protein. But 1/3 of the people, after thinking a bit more thoroughly and deeply, will say, they eat animal protein when they are babies. When they are nursing on their mother's milk is filled with animal protein. So plant-based animals eat consume or normally consume animal protein when they are nursing infants, which is during their rapid growth phase. And because of this, animal protein is a potent growth signal and stimulant in plant-based mammals. And when we look at what diet we are adapted to, it is very clear that human beings are adapted for a strictly plant-based diet. Now, I don't have time to go into all of the details in this particular lecture. I do have a lecture called entitled "Are Humans Designed to Eat Meat?" that goes into great detail explaining how human beings are anatomically and physiologically adapted as plant eaters. We have the jaw structure, dentition, jaw mechanics, and intestinal anatomy and physiology of a committed plant-based animal. And you can just see quickly by looking at the pictures of teeth along the top of this particular slide that we clearly are not adapted as the carnivore or even the omnivores, which is in this case is the bear, are to kill and dismember and consume animals. You'll be able to come back to this slide when you review this lecture and look at all of the information provided in great detail. So let's talk about the risk factors that promote cancer development. Well, again, number one, animal protein. Plant-eating mammals should only be exposed to animal protein during infancy and when they are rapidly growing, because animal protein is a potent growth signal in a plant-based mammal. When the liver in a plant-based mammal, including our liver, sees animal protein, it interprets that as a signal to try and grow. If herbivores are exposed to animal protein during their adult life, the animal protein starts to send these constant growth signals that actually can activate oncogenes or cancer-causing genes that begin to stimulate changes in the cell that cause it to become abnormal, and then it stimulates abnormal growth in these cells that can lead to tumor development and cancers. And some people say, well, wait a minute, if animal protein causes my body to grow, what if I want to be a weight builder or an athlete? Don't I want my cells to grow? No, you want your cells to hypertrophy, that is, the individual cells to increase in size. You don't want them trying to divide and increase in number, because that would be inappropriate. And Americans consume more than 1 million animals per hour. And we, of course, have the BMI, high cholesterol, heart disease, and cancers to prove that that is, in fact, what we're doing and destroying our health in the process. Animal protein turns on a suite of growth genes called MTOR genes that increase the level of growth hormones and cell division and decrease cell death in animals. MTOR genes function as master regulatory genes that govern proliferation, growth, and the overall effect is causing the animal to increase in size. By the way, TOR stands for target of rapamycin, which just refers to how these genes were discovered and during medical research. There's a drug called rapamycin that can inhibit these genes. Now, normally, these mTOR genes should only be active during the rapid growth phase of infant mammals, but animal protein in and of itself increases mTOR activity, and it is the amount of the essential amino acid leucine that actually has the greatest stimulatory effect on mTOR expression and activity. In other words, the higher the leucine amounts in a particular food, the more it stimulates these mTOR genes. Decreasing animal protein intake not only decreases mTOR activity, but it also suppresses the level of a hormone called IGF-1 or insulin-like growth factor 1, which again is a very powerful growth signal. mTOR genes have been shown to be upregulated in human cancers. In other words, they're much more active in cancerous tissues, and cancer cells themselves are covered in receptors for IGF-1, meaning that if you have higher levels of IGF-1 in your body, you're going to be stimulating these cancer cells to grow more aggressively. IGF-1 levels have been shown to be 9 to 13% lower in men and women eating plant-based diets when compared to meat eaters, which right there can account for some of the lower risk seen in plant-based populations. And in a very important 18-year study that included over 6,300 people, those who had the highest animal protein intake also had a 75% higher overall chance of dying or overall mortality, and a 4-fold increase in cancer deaths. They had 4 times as much cancer as people eating less protein or plant-based proteins. And this comes from a study published in scientific journal. And it says there is also evidence that the most tumors and transformed, that is cancerous cells, display increased IGF-1 receptor concentration and high IGF-1 receptor and messenger RNA, causing enhanced IGF-1 binding to those cells, leading to the axiom that overexpression of IGF-1 receptor is a pre-requirement for acquisition or progress of malignant tumors. Also, in a different study published in Cell Metabolism, 2014, it showed that respondents aged 50 to 75 who reported high protein intake, this is a study I referred to earlier, had a 75% increase in overall mortality and a 4-fold increase in cancer death during the subsequent 18-year period. These associations, and this is important, were either abolished or lessened if the proteins were derived from plant sources.